Welcome back to my YouTube channel, another exciting deep dive into the world of rare and valuable coins where seemingly ordinary change can turn into extraordinary fortune. And today we're going to explore an incredible story behind a humble 2001 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors and enthusiasts alike by being valued at an astounding $418 due to a combination of errors, mistakes, and rare minting anomalies that have made it not just a collectible, but a small treasure in your pocket. So stick around because we are about to uncover every fascinating detail that makes this coin such a hot item in the numismatic world, and by the end of this video, you'll be scouring your coin jars, drawers, and pocket change hoping to find your own 2001 penny that could be worth hundreds of dollars, as this isn't just a tale of monetary value but a real-life detective story of how small oversights, mechanical hiccups, and minting mishaps can create unique variations of coins that suddenly become prized possessions. And while most people overlook pennies as insignificant or even bothersome, true collectors know the immense worth these little copper-coated zinc coins can hold, especially when they bear signs of rare and documented mint errors that turn them into genuine rarities. And one such coin is the 2001 1-cent piece minted in the United States, which on the surface may look just like every other penny out there, but under close inspection and in specific examples, has revealed a wide range of anomalies that have driven collectors wild and elevated its market price from a mere cent to over $400. And to understand why the 2001 penny could be worth such a staggering amount, we have to dig deep into the types of errors that have been recorded on this particular coin, the conditions under which they were minted, and why these specific flaws make the coin so appealing to serious collectors. And among the most common and valuable errors found on the 2001 1-cent coin is the double die obverse error, where due to a misalignment during the hubbing process at the mint, the design elements on the front of the coin, especially the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2001, can appear doubled. And this doubling is not something caused by post-mint damage or wear and tear, but is an actual error from the striking process, making it significantly rarer and more desirable. And coins that show strong, clear doubling, especially in high-grade condition with minimal circulation wear, are the ones that attract the highest premiums from collectors who value both the aesthetic uniqueness and the rarity of the coin. And in some cases this doubling is so prominent that it can be seen even without a magnifying glass, making it easier to detect for sharp-eyed individuals going through their loose change. But the doubling isn't the only reason these coins have jumped in value, as the 2001 1-cent coin is also known to occasionally feature off-center strikes where the coin blank, known as a planchette, was not properly aligned within the press, causing the design to be struck off-center, resulting in part of the design being cut off or shifted significantly. And while minor off-center strikes are fairly common and don't command high premiums, dramatic examples, say, where 40% or more of the design is off the flan but the date is still visible, can be worth hundreds depending on the severity and grade. And then there are broad-struck coins where the retaining collar that keeps the coin shape fails to engage during striking, resulting in a coin that spreads out wider than usual and looks warped or stretched, a rare minting mishap that is again very collectible. And the 2001 penny has been found with this error as well in smaller but valuable numbers. Plus, one of the more elusive errors found on these coins is the die clash error, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in between, causing design elements from one side of the coin to appear ghosted or lightly impressed on the opposite side. And when a planchette is later struck using those clashed dies, it carries faint or even clear impressions of design elements from the opposite die. And in 2001 pennies, these clashed die errors have been spotted and can range from minor ghosting to strong visible marks, particularly around Lincoln's shoulders or the memorial building on the reverse, depending on which die was affected. And coins with clear, identifiable die clash marks often attract strong bidding interest, especially if the clash is dramatic and located in unusual places. And another prized variation includes the 2001 cents that exhibit cuds or die breaks, where a portion of the die cracks or collapses and leaves a raised blob-like mark on the coin, which is not only fascinating from a manufacturing point of view but is considered highly collectible, especially when the cud is large, clearly defined, and in a prominent location like near Lincoln's head or along the rim. And similarly, coins with retained die breaks where a piece of the die breaks but remains attached for a while can show raised, jagged lines or lumps that are highly sought after. And all of these variations, when certified by reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC, especially when preserved in high mint state conditions like MS65 or higher, can bring auction prices north of $400 or more, depending on the exact nature and severity of the error, the overall eye appeal, and of course the collector demand at the time. And part of what drives that demand is the increasingly popular hobby of error coin collecting, where enthusiasts are constantly searching for new or under-recognized errors from familiar years, and 2001 happens to be one of those years where mint production was high, yet enough errors occurred to create a buzz within the community, and with more people learning about and participating in coin hunting. Through roll searching, metal detecting, and estate sale finds, coins like the 2001 1 cent with its range of dramatic errors, from double dies to off-center strikes, from die clashes to cuds, have become mini phenomena, and collectors particularly favor coins that combine multiple errors such as a double die obverse with an off-center strike or a die clash with a cud, which are exponentially rarer and almost never intended, making them the result of a perfect storm of minting mishaps. And beyond the mechanical minting errors, other aspects also affect the value such as color and luster, because even among error coins, examples that retain full red coloration, a sign of minimal oxidation and excellent preservation, tend to sell for significantly more than their brown or red-brown counterparts, especially in uncirculated conditions, and the preservation of such coins often comes down to chance, being set aside early in their life, stored in a controlled environment, or simply overlooked in a sealed roll for decades, and those pristine conditions combined with rare errors make for the ultimate jackpot among collectors. And some 2001 pennies have also been reported with transitional errors, where planches from previous or subsequent years were mistakenly used, leading to discrepancies in weight or composition which, when confirmed by metallurgical testing, can command incredible prices. And though extremely rare, these transitional errors remain among the most desirable and elusive targets for collectors, and all of this goes to show that a tiny 1 cent coin from 2001, usually dismissed as pocket change, can become an object of great value and fascination when it carries with it a story written not in words but in the tiny imperfections that occurred during its creation, imperfections that were supposed to be corrected but slipped through the quality control net, resulting in happy accidents for the collector lucky enough to find one. And with over 100 documented varieties of errors across multiple minting facilities like Philadelphia and Denver, the 2001 penny has solidified itself as a sleeper hit in the numismatic world. And while not every coin from this year is valuable, the ones that do carry those unique features can be worth hundreds and continue to rise in value as awareness grows and more collectors enter the scene. And what makes this journey so exciting is that these treasures are not locked away in museums or elite auctions. They're still out there in circulation, waiting to be discovered by curious hands and trained eyes, and with patience, knowledge, and a bit of luck, you might just be the next person to pull a $418 penny from a handful of loose change. So keep looking, keep learning, and never underestimate the value of even the smallest coin in your collection. Next, 2011 1 cent USA coin. Today's exciting journey, we're diving deep into a small but astonishingly valuable piece of modern American currency, the 2011 1 cent coin, a humble penny that has stunned collectors by reaching values as high as $388, all because of a mix of errors, production flaws, and remarkable minting anomalies that have turned what was supposed to be a nearly worthless coin into an exciting and highly desirable item for hobbyists, investors, and serious numismatists alike. And as we begin to unravel the reasons why a coin designed for mere pocket change could fetch nearly $400 in certain auctions or private sales, it becomes abundantly clear that the world of coin collecting is as much about the thrill of discovery and the sharp eye for detail as it is about history, economics, and the mystery of unintended imperfections created during a highly mechanized minting process. And this 2011 penny stands as a perfect example of how even recent coins, produced in the millions or even billions, can harbor hidden gems due to mistakes during striking, die maintenance, planchette preparation, or even misalignments and doubling errors that slip through quality control and wind up in circulation, eventually being found by a watchful collector or enthusiast. And to understand why the 2011 1 cent coin could reach such value, we need to consider the year of production, the design involved, and how the minting process can occasionally result in rare and unintended outcomes that collectors are eager to obtain. So let's take a moment to appreciate the basic context of the coin in question, minted in the United States in 2011, part of the Lincoln Cent series, which by then had transitioned from the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse to the shield reverse design introduced in 2010 to represent Lincoln's preservation of the Union. And even though the shield reverse was still relatively new in 2011, it was produced in large quantities, meaning that the coin's face value and ubiquity would not naturally lead anyone to assume it could ever become rare or valuable, yet it's exactly in this ocean of commonality that rarities become all the more surprising and valuable, because scarcity within abundance is the paradox that drives the desirability of mint errors, and the errors on some 2011 cents are far more than cosmetic, involving mechanical doubling, die clashes, cuds, die breaks, off-center strikes, planchette anomalies, missing design elements, improperly annealed planchets, discoloration due to compositional inconsistencies, and even rare transitional errors that result when a coin is struck with the wrong metal composition or paired with mismatched dies. And one of the most intriguing errors found on 2011 pennies is the double die variety, where features of Lincoln's profile, inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2011, appear to be duplicated slightly due to a misalignment during the hubbing process, creating a visual doubling that can be detected under magnification or even sometimes with the naked eye if prominent enough. And these double die errors are highly sought after because they represent a true variety rather than post-mint damage, meaning they were created during the original striking of the coin and not due to wear, tampering, or environmental effects. And depending on the intensity and visibility of the doubling, some 2011 double die pennies have fetched well above face value and in pristine condition with high grades from coin grading services like PCGS or NGC. They can be worth hundreds of dollars, especially if found in mint state condition such as MS66 or higher, which adds the value of condition rarity on top of the error rarity, compounding the overall market demand and price. And another major class of errors that make the 2011 penny stand out includes off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly seated in the striking chamber and is struck off its intended axis, causing part of the design to be missing and giving the coin a lopsided or crescent appearance. And such off-center errors, especially those ranging from 10 to 50% off-center while still showing the date, are particularly collectible, and in 2011 examples, these can range in value from modest premiums up to $388 or more depending on how well the error is presented, the overall visual appeal, and whether the coin remains in uncirculated condition, as off-center. Errors that also retain full or partial date visibility tend to attract more interest from buyers, and then we have broad strike errors where the coin is struck outside the collar, creating a stretched or expanded diameter, sometimes accompanied by weak or distorted edges, and these too have been documented among 2011 pennies, often adding enough uniqueness to boost the value significantly, and sometimes 2011 cents show clear signs of die cracks or cuds, which occur when the die begins to fail and leaves raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin where the die has broken away or cracked, and these flaws, while technically damage, are considered mint-made and therefore collectible, especially when they occur in dramatic or prominent ways that make them visually striking and identifiable without specialized equipment, and in particular, certain 2011 pennies exhibit large retained cuds on the rim that obliterate parts of the design while simultaneously confirming that the error occurred at the mint, not post-circulation. And these types of dramatic errors tend to be photographed, shared, and traded among collectors frequently, with auction results showing coins like this fetching from $100 to over $300 depending on the error's magnitude and the coin's preservation. And there have even been isolated cases of 2011 pennies struck on foreign planchets or the wrong metal blanks, meaning the coin might weigh less or more than expected or have a different coloration altogether, and in rare scenarios, planchette errors result in the coin being composed of an unintended alloy or the wrong stock being fed into the press, which is a particularly difficult type of error to identify but can be incredibly valuable once authenticated. And while the vast majority of 2011 pennies were struck on zinc-based planchets with a thin copper coating, just like other post-1982 cents, mistakes in planchette sourcing or blank stock preparation can lead to unique anomalies that instantly raise a coin's desirability. And furthermore, some of the most valuable 2011 pennies are those that combine multiple errors, for example, a double die that is also off-center or a coin with both a cud and a die clash, creating layered errors that are even more unusual and command higher premiums among collectors who value complexity and visual appeal. And speaking of die clashes, these occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in place, leading to ghostly impressions of the opposing dies designed to appear on the next coin struck, and such 2011 cents can exhibit ghost images of the shield design on Lincoln's face or vice versa, producing eerie and fascinating visuals that again reinforce the idea that value in modern coins is not just about age or silver content but about the uniqueness introduced through error, and sometimes Collectors even pay attention to coins with unusual toning or surface discoloration, especially when it's not caused by environmental damage but possibly by annealing issues at the mint or chemical inconsistencies during the plating process, and some 2011 pennies have developed attractive rainbow toning, unusual hues, or blotchy surfaces that, if certified to be mint-derived, can add to their market value. And coin grading services play a key role here because a certified grade ensures buyers that the error is legitimate and the condition is accurately represented, and in auctions, it is not uncommon for such error coins to reach prices like $388 or more depending on their combination of rarity, desirability, eye appeal, and authenticity. And while many people overlook the coins in their pockets, those who know what to look for in a 2011 penny, subtle doubling, unexpected die breaks, off-center designs, odd shapes or surfaces, or even the sound and weight of the coin, stand a chance of discovering a hidden gem worth hundreds of times its face value. And this is what makes coin collecting not only a hobby but also a potential treasure hunt, a quest filled with education, pattern recognition, patience, and attention to detail. And it's this blend of artistic, historical, and technical curiosity that draws thousands of people to inspect even the most mundane pocket change under magnifying glasses, hoping to find that elusive error that transforms a cent into a conversation piece, an investment, or a prized collectible. And the 2011 penny is a reminder that rarity isn't always about ancient age or mint mark scarcity, but can emerge from a split-second mechanical malfunction or oversight at the mint, which when captured forever in metal, creates something truly special. And as collectors continue to uncover more about this intriguing coin through forums, videos, coin shows, and auction listings, the market for 2011 era cents continues to grow. And whether you're a beginner just learning the ropes or a seasoned numismatist with years of experience cataloging Lincoln cents, the 2011 penny proves that modern coins deserve just as much scrutiny as the classics, and every small imperfection, every unusual detail, every deviation from the expected pattern could mean the difference between a coin that's worth 1 cent and one that's worth $388 or more. And that's the kind of value that turns ordinary people into treasure hunters and everyday coins into extraordinary stories waiting to be discovered. And with every passing year, as more era coin last 1998 D1 cent USA coin, we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that might just be hiding in your pocket change. And today's episode is going to be a real eye-opener as we explore the incredible story behind the 1998 D1 cent coin, a penny that might seem ordinary at first glance but is actually worth a staggering $340 due to the errors, mistakes, and minting anomalies that make it such a prized possession among collectors and coin enthusiasts alike. And as we go through this detailed analysis, you'll discover why this little copper-plated zinc coin has captured so much attention and why its flaws have become the very reasons it's now considered a miniature treasure. So let's unravel the mystery, starting from the basics and moving into the intricate world of numismatic significance, because the 1998 D penny was minted at the Denver Mint, designated by the smaller d mint mark just beneath the date on the obverse side of the coin. And while millions of these coins were produced as part of regular circulation, a select number emerged from the minting process with specific imperfections that caught the trained eyes of collectors who knew exactly what to look for. And among these valuable flaws, one of the most prominent and lucrative is the wide AM reverse variety, a type of error in which the letters S and M in the word America on the reverse side of the coin are noticeably separated, in contrast to the more commonly found close AM configuration where the two letters nearly touch. And this wide AM feature, although originally intended for proof coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint, mistakenly found its way onto circulation strikes from Denver, creating a hybrid or transitional error that became a magnet for attention due to its rarity and the confusion surrounding how such a design mix-up could happen in the tightly controlled minting process. And what makes this particular error even more intriguing is that it suggests a blend of proof die usage in a business strike context, leading experts to theorize that proof dies may have been accidentally or experimentally installed in Denver presses, a scenario which itself opens up discussions about quality control lapses, human oversight, or even test runs that weren't caught in time. And beyond the wide AM variety, other striking flaws associated with the 1998 D penny include double die obverses, where the date or lettering appears double due to a misalignment during the die creation process, giving the coin a ghostly second image and adding yet another layer of value to what might otherwise be dismissed as pocket change. And these double die errors are often subtle, but when seen under magnification reveal fascinating layers of depth and mechanical complexity that testify to the flawed perfection of minting machines and human hands operating under immense pressure to produce billions of coins annually. And if you happen to have a 1998 D penny with both the wide AM reverse and a double die obverse, then you're potentially looking at a coin that stands as a double anomaly, a perfect storm of minting mishaps that elevate its desirability to even greater heights, with collectors willing to pay hundreds of dollars to own a piece of this unusual history. And adding to this, there are also off-center strike errors on 1998 D cents where the design is misaligned due to incorrect placement of the planchette, creating crescents of blank space and often cutting off portions of Lincoln's portrait or the lettering, which, depending on the degree of offset and the visible details, can fetch premium prices, especially if the date and mint mark are still legible. And then we must talk about die cracks and die chips, which occur when the minting dies begin to wear out or fracture, causing raised lines or blobs of extra metal to appear on the coin. And while these errors are more common than some of the previously mentioned types, they still hold interest and value, particularly when the cracks are prominent or form interesting shapes, sometimes even nicknamed by collectors based on their appearance, such as the popular spiked head or cut errors where part of the design appears to be missing or distorted. And in the case of 1998 D pennies, die chips have often been observed around Lincoln's eye, beard, or the Lincoln Memorial columns on the reverse. And when combined with other errors, these minor anomalies can contribute to the overall value of the coin, especially when sold in collector circles or online auction sites where buyers are eager to complete their error penny sets. And another noteworthy error found in some 1998 D cents involves repunched mint marks, abbreviated as RPMs, which occur when the mint mark is punched more than once in slightly different positions, a remnant from when mint marks were manually added to dies. And although this practice officially ended in 1990, transitional equipment or processes may have allowed a few late-stage examples to sneak through. And while rare, RPMs on modern coins like the 1998 D are highly sought after due to their scarcity and the insight they offer into outdated minting practices still lingering into the modern era. And still more errors exist, such as planchette flaws, including lamination errors where the surface metal peels or flakes due to impurities in the alloy, creating strange textures or missing patches on the coin surface, which can vary greatly in appearance and uniqueness, making each flawed coin a kind of one-of-a-kind artifact. And when collectors discover coins with multiple overlapping errors, say, a wide AM combined with a die crack and an off-center strike, the value can multiply exponentially because the statistical odds of so many mistakes converging on a single penny are astronomical, and collectors love rarity born from chaos. So if you think about all these factors, the wide AM design, double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, planchette issues, and even post-mint damage that's often misidentified but sometimes reinterpreted by experts, then it becomes clear how a coin like the 1998 D penny can command a price as high as $340 or more, depending on condition, visibility of the error, demand in the market, and sometimes even the coin's provenance or the story behind how it was discovered. And speaking of condition, it's important to emphasize that coins graded by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC tend to fetch the highest prices because collectors trust the authentication and consistent quality standards those certifications provide. And a 1998 D penny with a known error in mint state condition, meaning it shows no signs of circulation wear, can see its value soar significantly, and sometimes even minor differences in grading can mean hundreds of dollars more or less in price, especially when two coins with the same error are compared side by side and one is graded MS66 while the other is MS65. And to illustrate how unpredictable and exciting the error coin market can be, there are cases where collectors find rare pennies in circulation, in pocket change, or in old family coin jars, unaware that they're sitting on a small fortune. And this is part of what fuels the thrill of the hunt among numismatists and casual collectors alike, the possibility that any unassuming coin could turn out to be a hidden gem. And the story of the 1998 D penny is a perfect embodiment of this excitement, because it takes a common denomination and transforms it into something extraordinary purely through the lens of imperfection and rarity. And when you consider the enormous volume of pennies minted each year, over 5 billion in 1998 alone, it becomes even more remarkable that certain flawed specimens stand out so clearly against the backdrop of mass production. And it's a testament to the dedication of collectors who examine every detail, every letter, every ridge and contour in search Of that anomaly that could mean the difference between a 1-cent piece and a collector's prize worth hundreds, and it's worth noting that the broader context of coin collecting has seen a resurgence in recent years, particularly during times of economic uncertainty when tangible assets like rare coins gain appeal for both their intrinsic metal value and their numismatic potential. And error coins in particular have carved out a niche market where imperfections are valued more highly than perfection, creating a paradox where a flawed product becomes the pinnacle of desirability. And so the 1998 D penny's $340 value is not just about the errors it carries but about what those errors represent, a glimpse into the complex, sometimes fallible, always fascinating world of coin production, and the passion of those who study it, trade it, and preserve it. And in closing, if you ever come across a 1998 D penny, take a close look, use a magnifying glass if you have one, compare the AM in America, look for doubling on the date, examine the alignment of the strike, and check for any strange marks, lines, or textures because you just might have in your hand a coin that defied the odds, slipped through the cracks of precision manufacturing, and emerged as a numismatic marvel worth far more than its humble face value. And whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just getting started in the hobby, stories like this remind us that value often lies not in perfection but in the rare and unexpected quirks that make something truly one of a kind.